Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Steve Cunningham with Sensus Fidelium coming at you on the 29th of September, 2025, 9:15 p.m. The Feast of St. Michael, obviously, unless you just don't remember what day it is, Monday, St. Michael, the Archangel Day, or if you're Protestant watching, why are you watching? One, thank you for coming. Happy Monday. I know, I'll slide my own hand. Let's get right to it. We call it Blackpill Monday. Yeah, it won't be as bad as last week, I guess, which is good. Still nutty and still crazy stuff, but let's go with there. Locally here, families demand action on violent crime as Charlotte congressional hearing. Now, in other times, Mike would play this for you because it's on regular news, local news, WSOC TV here. I literally just saw it on the local news here because I'm watching to see if Imelda's going to do anything to us. They were last week. They were like, "Oh, run for the hills! Imelda's coming." It's going to go right through. Now it's going to do a V cut. If you know basketball, you go in, you come back out. It's getting us a little wet today. It was 2 days ago. It was like 100% chance it was going to pour tomorrow. Like we needed to build an ark. Now it's probably going to be sunny, but it's going out to sea. But anyway, I would have played it, but I mean seriously, I was shocked. The guy dropped GD on local news from this. They didn't edit it out. Like, how'd you not hit the beat button for this? So in case I hit that plus button, it's the same thing that I just saw on local TV. I ain't doing it. So anyways, this is families demand action on violent crime in Charlotte congressional hearing. Now feds came down for this. I don't know why. Lawmakers in D.C. descended on the Queen City for the victims of violent crime, which they have absolutely zero authority or reason to even do anything down here. It's kind of like, hey, Fed, go home. Back in the day, by the way, in the 1860s, when we were a real group of people, the state of Georgia, even 1850s, but mainly in the 1860s too, the state of Georgia had a mandate out. If you were a Fed and came in uninvited into the state of Georgia, you could have been executed by them. Now they go wherever they want. Thanks, Reconstruction. About to get off in the weeds. Swiss voters narrowly approved a plan for electronic ID cards. On Sunday, September 28, 2025, Swiss voters approved a plan for voluntary electronic identity cards with 40.5% voting in favor and 49.6% common sense people voting against. A surprisingly close result, contrary to polls predicting up to 60% reports. You got to love that democracy, baby. It's 50 plus 1, you get tyranny. Here's Fox News says Hillary Clinton could be indicted. And then you have the cheerleaders, lock her up. When was that? Lock her up was what, 26? That's so 26. Almost a decade ago, they were saying lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. And in the 9 years since, come on. These people literally think people are going to get locked up. It's like the whole thing with the Comey. You really thought something was going to happen to him? If you did, please send me your ads. Send me something that I can sell you beachfront property on. I don't know. Let's pick something. Mercury, I guess. I don't know. Because everyone says Mars, but Elon's trying to make beachfront property on Mars. So eventually you might want to try to get into Martian real estate, just be able to sell beachfront property on Mars. It used to be a joke. It'll probably be a reality one of these days. Today, Bibi and Trump meeting was a lot of fluff. Of course. The daddy came home. You know the whole thing with Trump saying daddy's home? No. His dad. Who's your daddy? Yeah, Bibi came home to see how the kids were doing. Speaking of daddy, if Hamas rejects your plan, then Israel will finish the job by itself. This can be done the easy way or it can be done the hard way. But it will be done. We prefer the easy way, but it has to be done. Israeli Prime Minister and war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu issues warning it to Hamas if they reject President and once and future King President DJT's Gaza peace plan, which means translation is since he thinks everyone is Hamas, they're just going to kill them all. Do I have a plan up next? I think I do. Here, yes. Dave the Camp of antiwar.com goes, here's the Gaza ceasefire plan released by the White House. Rapid response 47. once the future king president DJT's comprehensive plan to end the Gaza conflict. Number one, it's like a David Letterman thing. Number one, should we start with 10? Gaza would be de-radicalized, terror-free zone that does not pose a threat to its neighbors. Okay, so kill them all. Number two, Gaza will be redeveloped for the benefit of the people of Gaza, who won't be living there anymore, who have suffered more than enough. Reconstruction for you. Number three, if both sides agree to this proposal, the war will immediately end. Usually the Gaza people do agree to a proposal. It's those people in most favored nation that pretty much reneges on said agreement probably about 30 seconds after they agree on it. Did you see what I say? Israeli forces will withdraw to the agreed upon line to prepare for hostage release. During this time, all military operations, including aerial and artillery bombardment, will be suspended for at least 30 seconds. And battle lines will remain frozen until conditions are met for the complete staged withdrawal. Number four, within 72 hours of Israel publicly accepting this agreement, all hostages, alive and deceased, will be returned. Once all hostages are released, Israel will release 250 life sentence prisoners plus 1,700 Gazans who were detained after October 7th, including all women and children detained in that context. For every Israeli hostage whose remains are released, Israel will release the remains of 15 dead Gazans. Number six, once all hostages are returned, Hamas members will commit to peaceful coexistence and to decommission their weapons will be given amnesty. And their weapons will be given amnesty. Members of Hamas who wish to leave Gaza will be provided safe passage to receiving countries. Number seven, upon acceptance of this agreement, full aid will be immediately sent into the Gaza Strip. At a minimum, aid quantities will be consistent with what was included in the January 19, 2025 agreement regarding humanitarian aid, including rehabilitation and infrastructure, water, electricity, sewage, rehabilitation of hospitals and bakeries, and entry of necessary equipment to remove rubble and open roads. Number eight, entry and distribution of aid in the Gaza Strip will proceed without interference from the two parties through the UN and its agencies and the Red Crescent, in addition to the international institutions not associated in any manner with the party. Number nine, Gaza will be governed under the temporary transitional governance of a technocratic, I'm sorry, I couldn't say that without laughing, technocratic, apolitical Palestinian committee responsible for delivering a day-to-day running of the public services and municipalities for the people of Gaza. This committee will be made up of qualified Palestinians and international experts picked by Palestine, Palantir, with oversight and supervision by a new international transitional body, the Board of Peace, which will be headed and chaired by once a future king president DJT and other members, heads of state to be announced, including former Prime Minister Tony Blair. Did we say that last week? Dude, they were posting Blair might be the new prime minister. This body will be the framework and handle the funding for the redevelopment of Gaza until such a time as the Palestinian Authority has completed its reform program as outlined in various proposals, including President Trump's peace plan in 2020 and a Saudi-French proposal, blah, 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 bling, bling, bling. Number 10, wow, how many of these are there? Great googly moogly. Let me see if there's anyone. As first time I read all these, let's see. The Trump economic development plan to rebuild and energize Gaza will be created by convening a panel of experts who have helped birth some of the thriving modern miracle cities in the Middle East. Remember that AI video of Trump and Bibi? That's number 10. Let's see, an economic zone will be established with preferred tariff and access rates. 12, no one will be forced to leave Gaza, but we'll encourage you with a bullet up your back. If not, sorry, that was my thoughts. 13, Hamas and other factions agreed to not have any role in governance in Gaza directly. New Gaza will be fully committed to building a prosperous economy and peaceful coexistence with their neighbors. 14, regional partners. 15, U.S. will work with Arab international forces partners to develop a temporary international stability force, ISF, to immediately deploy in Gaza. Support We'll support the vetted Palestinian police force in Gaza. Yeah, trust us. Israel will not occupy or annex Gaza. In the event of Hamas delays, and this is funny because Bibi literally said 2 days ago there's no such thing as a Palestinian state, and they were never going to agree with that. So I don't know. Take this, see what Bibi does. Well, Gaza redevelopment advances with the. Here's the end of Gaza war. Here's all the IDF current control lines, the blue, and Israel withdrawal, hostage release, the yellow. The red is the second withdrawal when ISF mobilized per standards in the Trump plan. The buffer zone is in there. So 5 types of politicians in the United States. 1's bought by Israel. 2's blackmailed by Israel. 3 is dual citizen of Israel. 4 is scared to death of Israel. And number 5 is killed by Israel. Yeah, I don't trust that any of that will actually happen. But Amy, how you doing? Good to see you in the chats. Here's Dr. Simone Godick. We talked about this last time. 16-year-old American boy has been held as an adult male Israeli prison for the last 7 months without due process. And nobody in the States is trying to do anything for him. Let's be brutally. I'm brutal. Let's be brutally clear. Why is Marco Rubio silent while the 16-year-old American citizen is being held without due process in Israeli prison, starving, deteriorating, powerless? Why is Tel Aviv Cruz and Representative Israel Firster Fine so vocal about everything else without lifting a finger? Again, this kid's been out there and no one's given 2 thoughts to him. And this is Al Jazeera breaking news. This is from last week. Breaking news: Israel bombs Gaza 170 times over 24 hours. That was on the 25th. What was that, Thursday? This just came out. I saw, I won't use anybody's name. They work for the Daily Wire. Posted out saying, "Oh, so everyone lied but Bibi." Yeah, okay. Charlie Kirk wrote of his deep love for Israel in letter to Netanyahu about how the counter rising opposition to the Jewish state in the U.S. And if you believe this from the New York Post, again, not only do I have beachfront property on Mercury for you, but shoot, I got a condo in Venus. I can't even do it. If you want to read this, I haven't added this to the show notes because I just saw it before I came in, but it's hysterical. I mean, it's one of those like, oh yeah, you really believe it? Someone typed this up in the last couple of days, or do you think that it just magically showed up 2 weeks later? Dear Mr. Prime Minister, one of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews in the fight to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. Most recently, I'm proud to have taken over Ambassador Huckabee show on TBN, where we continually support Israel and Jewish people. It goes downhill. It goes downhill from there. Yeah. Think of it what you will. I don't buy it. The old joke is anytime Bibi opens his mouth, he's lying. I mean, Israel's getting crushed on social media. You are losing younger generations of Americans, even among MAGA conservatives. In my opinion, you are losing the information war, which will eventually translate into less political and military support from America. The Holy Land is so important in my life, and it pains me to see support for Israel slip away. Feel free to contact me on my private phone below if you would like to discuss this further. Again, there used to be a button there. It's called the easy button. They also have this one called the BS button. You just hit it, like, BS detected, There's no way that is legit. They are trying out the wazoo to make this. Oh, no, it wasn't that here. All the video that you've seen is not real. No. This is real. Yes. And by the way, they got some kid. I don't know if you've seen the kid. We showed it last time. He's like he's like some kind of, they just groomed out of the Israel lobby school of, I don't know, talking heads. He threw him on a private jet. He's upset. Oh, my neighbor gave me a private jet to fly. Your neighbor has a private jet. My neighbor has tomatoes. I don't know anybody has a neighbor has a jet, and he's flying this kid all over the land to go to high schools and colleges just to promote Israel. U.S. looking at selling Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. J.D. Vance says. Ukrainian president and actor Volodymyr Zelensky last week revealed to an interview with Axios that he asked once a future King President DJT on to provide Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles, which would allow Ukrainian forces to strike deep into Russia, even as far away as Moscow. Apparently, JD said, you asked this question about Tomahawk. It's something the president's going to have to make the final determination on. What the president's going to do is what's best for the interest of these United States of America, the United States of America. How do you do the and think it's plural? These or the United States, one of the two. I know we're having conversations this very minute about the issue. Actually, he wasn't having at this very minute because he's on the interview. Sorry. From the Ministry of Defense Twitter page, the UK is defining the future of defense tech. Our new partnership with Palantir, drink, will deliver up to 1.5 billion pounds of investment, 350 new skilled jobs. Palantir's European HQ in the UK, mentoring for UK defense firms. We're making defense the engine for growth. Someone posted underneath, you just got Palantired. Here's Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has officially ordered National Guard troops into Portland for the next 60 days. As the President of the United States called forth at least 2,000 National Guard personnel into federal service pursuant to Section 12406 of Title 10, which U.S. Code, to protect U.S. ICE and other U.S. government personnel who are performing federal functions, to use the federal military for that, not the Guard, including enforcement of federal law, and to protect federal property. That's the main thing, property, at locations where protests against these functions are occurring and are likely to occur based on current threat assessments and planned operations. This memorandum further implements the President's direction. 200 members of the Oregon National Guard will be called into federal service effective immediately for a period of 60 days. The National Guard is not a federal thing. You can't just jump ship, go for, hey, we're going National Guard to the federal. And even if it does go federal, then they can't use it because it's now federal and you violate Posse Comitatus. You can't do either. You can't do both. It's either the National Guard of Oregon stays in the National Guard of Oregon and works for your thing from the governor of Oregon, or you say we're going to violate Posse Comitatus and we're going to turn this into a federal police state and just do that. It's one of the two. You can't have both. The digital gulag is being erected before your very eyes, and most people don't care. At the World Economic Forum 2025, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez presented a vision for the digital future that could send a chill down the very spine of every free citizen. Framed as a solution to online harms, his proposal is, in reality, a blueprint for the panopticon of digital control, perfectly aligned with the globalist agenda of the World Economic Forum. And don't worry, Russia, Trump, all those guys are in complete agreement with that. What Sanchez said, he called for the end of online anonymity. You heard that before. Demanding that every social media profile in Europe be linked to a state-issued European digital identity wallet. He compared the internet to public streets, arguing that just one cannot drive without a license plate. One should not post without a state-verified ID. We've talked about that. Many people, all media has talked about that for years. You're going to need a license to be online. What Sanchez is really saying, he's declaring that the digital public square, the last true global space for a free, unvetted discourse, might be brought under the direct supervision of the state. It ain't no might, or it must be brought. It will be. His rhetoric is masterclass for misdirection. Fighting misinformation is code for establishing a verifiable identity for dissent. Under this system, any opinion deemed inconvenient by the authorities can be traced directly back to the citizen who voiced it. Ending cyber harassment is the pretext for ending digital privacy. The principle that one can speak without fear of state retribution is being reclassified as impunity. Pseudonymity is a Trojan horse that offers the illusion of a nickname while ensuring that a government database holds the key to your real identity, accessible whenever public authorities deem your speech a crime. This is the ultimate goal of the WF's Create Reset Digital ID agenda, not safety, but control. It creates a system where participation in modern society is contingent on accepting a government-issued digital leash. The threat of being banned or persecuted for undefined crimes will inevitably lead to self-censorship, silencing legitimate criticism, and neutralizing opposition. His second proposal, to force open the black box of algorithms, completes the picture. It's not about transparency for users, but about regulatory capture for the state. The goal is for governments to dictate what content is amplified and what is suppressed, shaping public opinion under the guise of managing the public conversation. Netanyahu apologizes to Qatar for Doha strike at Trump's direction. So Netanyahu on Monday phone call apologized to Prime Minister of Qatar, Mohammed bin Jassam Al Thani Mohammed. They spoke for several minutes, according to Israel's Channel 12. Importantly, Trump himself was on the call, and so all seems to result in mediation by the U.S. leader. Trump announces 100% tariff on all movies made outside the United States, presumably including Mel Gibson's new Christ saga. Mel Gibson, Donald Trump's Hollywood ambassador, will have trouble with his latest movie. Trump has announced 100% tariff on all movies made outside the United States. Gibson is shooting his two-part Passion of Christ sequel, and it's not in Altona. Shooting is set for Rome, other locations in Italy, Morocco, and Israel. We get to the shootings that happened this past weekend. Mormon church gunman was Marine who supported Trump. Thomas Jacob Sanford, 40, killed by police after ramming truck in a Michigan church and opening fire on worshipers. Because immediately everyone was going, it's a lib, it's a lib, it's a lib, it's a lib. Because I just remember the shooting with Kirk. They'd be the first thing. So you liberal. It's all about Teen Party politics. And by the way, the funny thing about this is the new photo that's edited out. Somebody's trying to figure out who edited out the Trump 2020 shirt. Terrifying ambush. Michigan church shooter Thomas Sanford and Southport killer Nigel Edge's chilling link after horror weekend of violence. The other guy that you didn't Nigel Edge. That happened here in North Carolina on the coast near Wilmington. A total of 8 victims were killed and 12 wounded across both horrific weekend massacres at a Sunday service and a waterfront bar. Here's Thomas Sanford, Iraqi war veteran with wife and kid. Here's the other dude, mugshot of Nigel Edge in Brunswick County. The gunman who yesterday crashed his truck in a Mormon church in Michigan and opened fire, killing at least 5 worshipers in a rampage, had previously received several medals in his service in Iraq with the U.S. Marines. The other gunman who allegedly killed 3 people, wounded 5 others at a seaside bar in North Carolina, was also a decorated Marine veteran who served in Iraq and described himself as a man of honor. The homegrown link comes as forensic experts continue combing through the razed ruins of the Mormon church in search of more victims. Sanford slaughtered, you know the story. Nigel Edge of Oak Island, 40, has been accused of opening fire on Saturday night from a boat into a crowd area at the American Fish Company in Southport. U.S. military records show Sanford, who grew up in Flint, Michigan area, served in the Marines from 2004 to 2008, and was an Iraq War veteran. The close-up view of his pickup truck's rear license plate showed he wore his service with pride with a custom Iraq plate. The Marine Corps spokesman told CNN that Sanford served as sergeant and received several medals for his service. He was locally interviewed in Clarkson News in 2007 about a service he earned honors in the rifle range and achieved the rank of sergeant according to his archives. The military describes his career as stellar. I'm excited to go. Looking forward to it. There's more changes in the Middle East. The citizen Iraq needs to step up. Edge suspect in North Carolina gunman is another 40-year-old Marine vet. We already said that. The filings described Edge as a decorated Marine and claimed to have several wounds, including traumatic brain injury in Iraq. According to court records, he had filed for a federal lawsuit against the U.S. government. The lawsuit, which was dismissed, showed Edge was previously known as Sean William de Beauvois before changing his name. At a press conference yesterday, reporters heard that Edge, quote, identifies as a combat veteran. He's self-identified as injured in the line of duty. Edge said he also suffers from PTSD, added Southport Police Chief Corning. That's the big one that usually they don't bring up because that's a big thing and they don't want to talk about it. There's nothing significant. Trying to piece everything together. He also has a self-published book on Amazon, Headshot, Betrayal of the Nation, published in 2020. In it, he describes himself as a high school wrestler who grew up in New York State and learned early that he was bound to be a man of honor. The book adds that he willingly deployed to Iraq, where he encountered a war zone that would rip his body to shreds and was struck by 4 bullets, including 1 to the head. He also claimed all of this was at a hand of a friendly fire that would provide the most crippling mental damage. Upon returning to the U.S., he had worked tirelessly to recover the use of his body. Michigan motive unknown. So, again, all these are in the show notes if you want to take a look, see what they meant. Yeah, I got a new mic, Flower Leaf. I guess I could put it closer. Is this a little bit better, I guess? I got it out so I can hit the buttons. I don't know. Let me know. Is that better or any difference on that? Yes, no, whatever. Because it was literally up here. I'm used to having another one now farther out. I should get something that could get a little bit closer, but yeah, you're right. I don't think about that. You guys got to let me know if it's not as clear or anything like that. But hey, no, seriously, let me know. Is that better? I just moved the thing to right here instead of further out. I'll check back in a second. I'll keep going. CNN, Marine veteran in custody after 3 killed, at least 8 injured. You saw that already. Here's a breaking update. Just days before the LDS church attack in Grand Blanc, Michigan, shooter Thomas Sanford reportedly described Mormonism as the Antichrist during a conversation with the city council candidate. 5 are confirmed dead. 6 others. Sounds good. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, I don't hear it on the playback. I just do it. And I apologize. I'm not a tech guru. I'm pretty much an idiot when it comes to all this. I got this one because a buddy of mine bought me long ago this high tech stuff, and I don't know how to use it. Here's Last American Vagabond. Without even a glance at the facts, Benny Johnson uses this story to use for his agenda. Only issue, it's an LDS church, not a Christian church. Not sure why anyone takes these team sport politic partisans seriously. As Benny said, the aerial footage shows a Grand Blanc, Michigan church engulfed in flames after gunmen opened fire and set it ablaze. Christianity is under attack. Again, the people are getting upset that people are going, Mormonism is not Christianity, and it's not. At the best, it's a pseudo-Christian heresy. Definitely comes from a Protestant background, Freemasonic, all that jazz. My first assumption was, thanks, Candlesticks. My first assumption was the Kirk thing, because they said it was a Mormon guy. And maybe this guy was upset about Mormonism and blame, which if you have PTSD, the PTSD, don't try to think reason. It's just people going to do that. There was my last job with South Carolina was with this veterans group, and I would go into the prisons twice a week just to see the vets and get their DD 214s, get anything they need, see what they're in there for, see if they need a lawyer, whatever they need. And we would drop books off too, because the only books that they would get in the prisons are usually Muslim books. So anybody out there that wants to do some kind of evangelization, it's harder to get into the prisons to visit anybody. They kind of like axe that out. So it'd be great to be able to say, visit the people in prison. You really can't it's hard to do that anymore. But you can bring books and just go to your local detention center and ask them, say, I want to donate to the prison library, and bring some good books, and they'll put it in there for them. Because again, the only thing they're getting usually is Muslim stuff. And there was a bunch of guys with PTSD, and there was one guy. There was a story of a guy in Clemson who they nicknamed like the Clemson Mother Teresa. Goes overseas, comes back, and a couple weeks later, he runs a red light. He has the entire squad, all the squad cars of Clemson coming to the door, and he comes out with a shotgun. He's looking to go to war with the entire PD Department of Seneca. Didn't work out well. When I went out to Denver and did Uber, one of my first rides was a Marine vet. And what happened was he forgot, or he blacked out. I guess he had a couple drinks, blacked out, and he woke up and his truck was on his side and he was beating a cop. He has no recollection of anything in between. So I was taking him to do a P test at the time. And I was trying to find a way to give him help on his PTSD. There's guys with all sorts. Again, they pretty much don't bring it up. Here's a thing about local news on the man accused of killing 3, hurting 5 at the bar. They knew him. The guys at the bar knew him. He was kind of like not a regular, but the police chief said they're familiar with him as he filed several lawsuits against the town and the police department within the last couple of years. Apparently, he had a singer. He escorted country music singer and album. Oh yeah, native Kelly Pickler to the CMT Awards under that name. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Veteran gets help from PTSD from nonprofit. Yeah. Southport mass shooting suspect then identified as Nigel Edge after targeted and highly premeditated daily attack on. And remember when I told you about what happened in my neighborhood about a month ago now? Locked down for 3 hours. Same thing. It ended up being a vet on a boat in the middle of the lake. Ended up he put his boat on the island, and there was multiple warrants for his arrest or something like that. Found out that he had PTSD. The news wouldn't take it. A guy in the neighborhood, he's got his nose in all these guys. He found out it was a Marine vet that had PTSD and was threatening to shoot at the people walking by on the bridge and in the woods, literally about half mile away from me. So yeah, this stuff. Ours didn't make the news. Cannabis stock soars after Trump shares video promoting drug use for seniors. Video posted on Truth Social touts CBD as a game changer and promotes Medicaid coverage of CBD products. Now, cannabis for that does work. Now, I'm not promoting smoking it or anything like that, but hemp itself. I got hemp seed. We got hemp seeds, hemp oil, and all that helps in all kinds of stuff. Again, not telling you come and get high, but cannabis used for medical purposes. It's really you look it up. It's really effective. Oh yeah, here's Grok confuses the mass shooter with a lead singer of The Cure. As Grok says, oops, that was a glitch on my end. Robert James Smith is the lead singer of The Cure and not involved in any shooting. The actual suspect hasn't been named by authorities yet. Thanks for a heads up. I'll debug that. And remember, last week we talked about Grok being in charge of the government. Grok AI, XAI. Speaking of AI, I forgot to put this up. Let me see if I can find that. Down further. Heard it this morning. Here it is. Trump deletes his bizarre post featuring an AI video of himself endorsing med beds, which raises the question of whether he's so confused that he thought it was a real video of him talking. Trump tonight appears to have pushed a false med bed conspiracy theory, which has spread in the far right internet over the years. It's a QAnon thing. He literally reposted the darn thing. Stephen Miller takes leading role in strikes on alleged Venezuelan drug boats. And it was something, imagine, let's play this mentally. If Venezuela bombed or blew up a couple of fishing boats, U.S. fishing boats, U.S. citizens off the coast of the Bahamas, what did you think would happen? Trump would probably nuke them the next day. We're blowing them up left and right. And then tell them that's their fault. And this Miller's a scumbag. Miller's Homeland Security Council has played a key part in coordinating operations, sources say. Shocker. Stephen Miller, Donald Trump's prime minister, executes his plan to reshape America. Washington's most powerful unelected bureaucrat slashes immigration and threatens his political enemies. That's just good. This guy is who? Billions in taxpayer dollars have become virtually untraceable. The Trump administration's aggressive approach to overhauling the executive branch has obscured how federal dollars are actually being spent, even for the members of Congress, which there's a close down coming down soon. There's a close down. Yeah. Hope they close it down and never reopen. Putin orders highest fall conscription target in 9 years. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday ordered a conscription of 135,000 men by the end of 2025, 3 months, the largest 2.5 months, the largest conscription, 3 months, drive in 9 years. During the autumn 2016 intake, Putin ordered a conscription of 152,000 men. In the 3 years since Russia began its invasion of Ukraine, it has drafted an average of 127,000 men. Drone alert. NATO ramps up air defenses as more drones buzz military bases and airports in wave of hybrid attacks across Europe. Speaking of that, let me think about war pigs while we're getting that. That's wrong group. If I can spell right. White House releases Gaza ceasefire plan. We already said that. Then Yahoo meets pro-Israel influencers in New York. Oh, yeah. Remember they were talking about that? I'll see what that is after this. U.S. considers arming Ukraine with Tomahawks. IDF kills 198 Palestinians in Gaza over 3 days. UN imposes snapback sanctions on Iran. U.S. could start bombing Venezuela in weeks. Put that on your calendar. Trump to attend Head General's meeting. Sudan, 95 dead from hunger, disease, and El Fisher camp. So Netanyahu meets with pro-Israel influencers in New York, describes social media as a weapon for Israel. I saw the clip of that. Anybody in there you actually know? I don't know anybody. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with pro-Israel influencers after a speech in UN General Assembly in New York City. Yes, New York City on Friday. His office said in a statement on Sunday. During the meeting, Netanyahu was asked what should be done about Israel, potential losing support from evangelical Christians in the U.S., and he pointed to social media, which he called a tool of battle, and cited a plan for TikTok to be put under the control of U.S. companies. What we have to do is secure that part of the base of our support of the United States that is being challenged systematically. How do we fight back? Our influencers. I think you should also talk to them if you have a chance, Netanyahu said. And secondly, we're going to have to use the tools of battle. The weapons change over time. We have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefield on which we're engaged, and the most important ones are on social media. The Israeli leader described the TikTok plan as the most important purchase that is going on. Under the plan approved by Trump, one of the companies that will have major stake in TikTok and control the algorithm is Oracle, which is owned by Zionist Larry Ellison, an extremely pro-Israel billionaire and major private donor to the Israeli military. TikTok, and I hope it goes through because it could be extremely consequential. Netanyahu said, adding that the other major social media platform he is concerned about is X, formerly Twitter. The Israeli leader described Elon, the owner of X, as a friend. We have to talk to Elon. He's not an enemy. He's a friend. You should talk to him. Now, if we can get these two things, we can get a lot, and I can go on about other things. And that's not the point right now. We have to fight the fight. give direction to Jewish people and give direction to our non-Jewish friends or those who could be our friends. You see what's going on, guys? Mamma mia. Inside China's nuclear-ready military city that's 10 times bigger than a pentagram. China is building a military city outside of Beijing that could become the largest command center in the world. Inside the cartel networks recruiting young Americans on social media. You can read it. It's in the show notes. You want to read it. I'm from here. U.S. citizens are ending up in Trump's dragnet. As immigration agents take a more aggressive approach, they have stopped and in some cases detained American citizens. I've lost count of me. We've showed. There's been plenty. I don't know if they have the number on here, but quite a few. Karma hits ICE agent who yelled adios to a woman before slamming her on the ground. I don't know if you've seen this video. Man. He got relieved of his duties, but then he's back in action. Let's see if they have the video here. Here it is. Yes, let's see. So she's begging to. Yeah, we played it the other day. We'll play it again, anyways. They're not showing the illegal alien desperate holds. They're masked up. It's okay for them to mask up, not identify themselves, not do anything, just beat the snot out of people. And where's that? Do you subscribe to that? Is that how we're at right now? Do we just hate people to, hey, we don't like what you look like anymore? Hurt them all. Fear and hope in Venezuela as U.S. warships lurk. On a visit to Venezuela, the Times found a nation bracing for potential U.S. military action. I wonder what goes on in their mind. Like, this is really happening. The man behind Trump's push for an all-powerful presidency. Russell Voigt spent years drawing up plans to expand presidential power and shrink federal bureaucracy. Now he is moving closer to making that vision a reality, threatening to erode checks and balances. I mean, we already got an elected king, elected monarch. Why not? Just go all out. Flashback, Trump budget chief once told Bannon, no one, quote, should be afraid of government shutdown. No one should. No one should. I'm sure they're saying that differently now since they're in. Depends on whose team is on. Rahm Emanuel, the guy that said never let a crisis go to waste during the Obama years, weigh-in presidential bid navigates a Democratic Party moving left. Party long-timer takes the stage in Iowa to test political waters, leaving behind past criticism of Democrats. That was Rahm. Got his white hair going pretty good. That was a good number. How many were that? 20, 25, 30 people there? 40? Depending on who's the media. CNN, they'll probably say 40,000 people were there. MrBeast defends trapping man in burning building for $500,000. MrBeast, the world's biggest YouTuber, has defended his latest stunt video, Would You Risk Dying, for $500,000, which shows a professional stuntman escaping a blazing building while collecting bags of cash. The fiery spectacle sparked fury, and some online suggested it was dangerously irresponsible and could put viewers who might copy the clip at risk. In response to the criticism, MrBeast, real name Jimmy Donaldson, said, I take safety more serious than you could ever imagine. I bet he does. The video first posted to YouTube on Saturday currently has more than 45 million views. Man. Somebody tried offered to buy his YouTube channel for $100 billion, and he turned it down. That's how much he brings in. He started by playing video games, streamlined video games on here. New CDC travel warning for a virus spreading across the globe as incurable disease reaches America. Americans are being advised to practice caution when traveling to the Caribbean island because of an outbreak of a deadly virus. The CDC has placed a level 2 travel warning on Cuba after local officials raised the alarm of an outbreak of Chikungunya, whatever, a painful viral infection that could leave victims bedridden for months. The disease is spread by mosquitoes, with patients suffering a sudden fever and then joint pain in the hands and feet that can be so severe that sufferers are left unable to walk for months. In rare cases, the disease can be fatal. Officials in Cuba have not revealed how many people are infected, but say that the outbreak is focused in Matanzas province, 60 miles east of Havana. There have been no deaths reported so far, so you should be terrified. And especially since it's going into the winter months when you're not going to have many mosquitoes. You don't have to worry about it. But hey, we're going to just go in and spray poison all over the place and go from there. Gives them an excuse to do that. Hollywood hits back as AI actress is hailed as the next Scarlett Johansson. The woman you see above might look as real as any other human, but she's not. She's actually an artificial intelligence generated actress named Tilly Norwood, who, after a short time on the scene, has sparked interest among talent agents who are keen to hire. How do you hire an AI thing? Like many forms of art, she sparks conversation. And I don't know if you guys noticed, I put two videos up this past weekend. That's a podcast. One on Humanity Generous and another one on Missing Monarchy. People, I sent it to people before. They couldn't tell that they thought that was real stuff. Scarlett isn't that impressive. I get it, yeah. So yeah, they're gonna have movies out with this stuff. I'm gonna keep doing the podcast thing because hey, the author that I wanted to do the one book of is dead, so I can't interview him. But that this program gives me the idea to be able to do a podcast with two people, and they did a terrific job. I sent it to a friend of mine who's 100% in on the topic, helps promote it because that was amazing. I sent the first one, the monarchy one, to the guy who wrote the book, and I already did an interview with him long ago. He goes, "That was better than I ever did," and I wrote the book. So yeah, it's give it a couple more years. The warning signs are clear. We're headed toward a digital crisis. In a nutshell, people's daily lives are deeply entangled in digital technologies, from online banking to AI, making society more vulnerable than ever to failures and cyber attacks. The digital economy operates like a massive social experiment where corporations reap the rewards while shifting most of the risks, such as data leaks, ransomware, and infrastructure breakdowns onto the public. Researchers warn that the system is tightly interconnected and lacks redundancy, resembling the conditions that led to the 2008 financial crisis. Warning signs are already clear. Past malware attacks, widespread flight cancellations, and constant data breaches reveal the fragility of our digital infrastructure. Without proactive regulation and stronger safeguards, experts caution that a systemic digital crisis may be inevitable. And in sports, mega rages as Trump hater Bad Bunny picked for 2026 Super Bowl halftime show. And you could put a gun to my head and ask me, who is Bad Bunny, or I'll shoot you in the head. And I would have to tell you just to pull the triggers. I have no idea who that guy is, nor do I care. And I'm wondering, why does anybody care about the halftime show anyways? But people just like to be mad and argue and complain about things. Again, no clue who that guy is. This day in history, 1923, British mandate in Palestine, set in motion by the Balfour Declaration of 1917. That's a year that we should know. The British mandate for the establishment of a Jewish homeland in Palestine was finally approved by the Council of the League of Nations and came into force this day in 1923. 2005, American jurist John Roberts was sworn in as the 17th Chief Justice. A U.S. SCOTUS 1988 Discovery was launched at Cape Canaveral, Florida. Mark redemption of the NASA program since the explosion of Challenger in 86. 1961, Julia Gillard, who in 2010 became Australia's first female prime minister, was born in Wales. 1938, the American harness racehorse Greyhound established a Trident record was broken. 1969. 1938, Poland demanded the cession of Tuscan, a rich region that has been contested and then divided between Poland and Czechoslovakia following World War I. 1918, German Chancellor Horst von Hertling tendered his resignation on the day of the Bulgarian armistice, and the British attacked the Western Front during World War I. 1906, U.S. occupied Cuba after the rebellion surrounding the re-election of Tomas Estrada Palma. 1833, King Ferdinand VII of Spain died, and his 2-year-old daughter Isabella II was proclaimed Queenie Pooh. 1829, through the efforts of Robert Peel, England's first professional police force, London's Metropolitan Police, often called Scotland Yard, was founded. It became a model for future PDs in various other countries, including these United States. 642 Arab generals something marched into Alexandria, and the Arab conquest of Egypt, which had begun in the invasion 3 years earlier, ended in peaceful capitulation. Thank you, everyone, for checking in and hanging out with me for tonight. 10:05. Then not too. Then go. Well, it's 50 minutes. Then go for the full hour. Thank you. Link, subscribe, click the comments, all that jazz. Don't forget sensusfidelium.tv for the app. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you and have a great night.